Worst invention I've ever seen in my life.
This guy loves pencils and loves sharpening them, and is just now discovering that those
Horrible.
little handouts.
I'm sorry, I don't want to throw.
No, you haven't rinsed it.
No.
Horrible.
Out.
Start the
Horrible
It's clear
invention.
they work.
Start the show.
I need a
They used to
pocket
work
knife.
for me back in 4th grade. That's what I
That was the best they had
The
back
last
then.
time.
They had just come up with pencils.
We're the ones.
First hour, first things first. Well, we're starting with Brock and the 49ers. They take care of the Seahawks. Brock now 5-0 against Seattle in his career, 255 yards. Kittle caught 2 touchdowns, 18 for 28 for Brock, threw 3 overall, 129 passer rating. Come on, bro. Here's Purdy on deeper throws, 10 or more yards downfield, 6 for 9, 165 yards, 2 touchdowns, passer rating almost at 150. You didn't like that yesterday. You accused Brew of funny math or something yesterday. He hated
That's
it.
not
It
at
wasn't
all
funny.
That's not at all accurate or true. But go ahead. And
You did say 10 yards, 20
what I
yards,
said,
30 yards.
okay,
were the
we
same,
can
which I didn't
relitigate
understand
yesterday's
that.
show.
Didn't understand
But if instead of, since that's where we're starting, leader
Well,
of the
it is.
show,
What's the question?
Were you impressed?
you agreed with me yesterday that when Brew listed the things Purdy was first in, and it was 10-yard throws, 20-yard throws, 30-yard throws,
Sometimes I
I
do that.
just said they were
to
correlated.
I do like yards per game.
I was
and
on an
total yards.
island.
Yeah,
That's
those
what-
are one and
yeah,
both.
I was
exactly
on an
right.
island
They-
yesterday defending Brock.
No,
Purdy. That's
what-
fine. I was by
what-
myself.
what-
You two coming at me and Greg
I
Jennings
know.
once he got on.
What's the
Were
question?
you impressed by Brock finally?
Marginally, yes.
Oh, there you go.
Well, here's the thing. If I said jaw dropped, I never thought he could do it. That's disrespectful. To be wildly impressed by Brock doing,
What he tends to do.
Well, also exactly what Daniel Jones and Jared Goff did against Seattle. I mean, we can show it to you. I have gotten bitten by buying into Seattle a little more than I should, maybe. Jared Goff, Wilds led the show with it, threw a perfect game. Daniel Jones got you. Greg Jennings came out, chest puffed out, and if you want to see Greg Jennings' chest puffed out, wait until
Stay
the B
tuned.
block today. But no, listen. I thought that he played really well. I think he continues to impress me with his escapability, even though I do think he is flying a little too close to the sun with some of the scrambles. Not the, let me get out of here and go run, but some of the doubling back and then doubling back again. It hasn't bitten him yet, but that feels like a disaster waiting to happen at some point.
A lot of guys, Mahomes will do some of that. Lamar will do some
Yes.
of that.
All the greats.
I agree. I understand that Brock
He's
Purdy
not
has
as
a good
athletic as
10-yard
Lamar.
split, but I certainly don't put him in the athleticism category of Lamar.
No.
And I don't put him in the same athletic category as Patrick Mahomes. And so listen, I think that there is going to be a thirst from either the audience or from my friend in the purple tie for me to give Brock Purdy more love for this performance than we as a show, except for Wilds, gave Jared Goff for his performance in a standalone night game against the Seattle Seahawks, when he was 18 for 18 and even better passer rating, all that stuff. I'm not going to do that, but I will say I was on here yesterday and I said I thought Seattle would keep it close and win in the end. They didn't. Purdy made the last touchdown pass I thought was his best, the one that Kyle was talking about there. The second one to Kittle I thought was a Kittle brilliance, and it was a great pass, but the best part of that was Kittle, and the first one was the catch and run. So I guess, yes, I was somewhat impressed by Purdy, but I also think he played an excellent game. I have no criticisms about the game.
Do I even need to say
No, it's
anything?
a short segment.
I mean,
Break.
I sat here 24 hours ago and told you guys Brock Purdy is a bad man.
Yeah.
And then he went out last night and showed that he's a bad man.
That's true.
Now, Nick, you talked yesterday a lot about standards.
Yeah.
Let's hold Brock Purdy to this standard. You came on here earlier this week and said Patrick Mahomes, in a game where he had 0 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a passer rating of 86.6, that he played the perfect game.
Yeah.
What in the world was that last night we witnessed?
Oh,
by that standard.
Yeah,
Brock Purdy wasn't better last night than Patrick Mahomes was on Sunday?
No.
Oh my gosh.
No.
What standard are we using?
Missed throws. Patrick
Really?
missed 0 throws.
He
the
actually
entire
threw an
game.
interception because it was behind the guy.
That wasn't a missed throw. If it
was behind the guy.
Charted as a missed throw, and it wasn't a missed throw.
He had no touchdowns.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't think you can play a perfect game with 0 touchdowns.
Okay,
but you can play one with 3. And you can play one when you have a 129.3 passer rating. All right, so by that standard, he was magnificent last night. All right, Nick, like you said, show these two. Can we see the touchdowns to George Kittle? The passes were phenomenal. I don't know if we have them. Here's the one. I mean, sneaks it over the defender.
That's a great
perfectly
pass.
thrown pass.
It's a great pass. And just to be clear, I wasn't trying to take away from the pass on this. I was saying I thought the Kittle getting 3 feet down on that was remarkable.
It
That's
was
a perfect
great
pass.
Yep.
It's a perfect pass.
And then the second pass, the second touchdown to Kittle was just as good. He had to throw it like these two passes. He could throw in one place. And he did it. We keep showing the same one. But the second one, he split. I don't know.
At some point.
It's on a loop. Yeah. All right, here we go. We only need to see it once, but he splits 2 defenders. Has to be in the perfect spot, and he gets it the only place he can throw it to be successful.
I thought that was the reason I thought that was his best play of the night was because if he didn't throw it the second he threw it, it's not caught. If he throws it a second earlier, it's not caught, or a quarter second. And if he throws it a quarter second later, I think it's picked, or not picked, but knocked down could be picked.
No, it was a great.
I thought that was a great play. So I'm not acting like the guy can't make great plays.
And like you said, his scrambling now, he scrambled for first downs, and he also scrambled, to your point, and made some passes for first downs. I want to compare him, to Geno, because you guys scoff at me, particularly you, when I say he's better than Geno Smith. Last night, here's the numbers. Big game for both of them. And, Geno wet the bed. 2 interceptions, a lot of yards. We threw it 50-something times. Purdy was excellent. Geno wasn't.
Are we having a debate of whether or not Geno is
Well, every time I say he's better than Geno, I get Geno's higher in the tiers. I get scoffed at.
I don't.
I said yesterday he's having a better season. We got to hear it than Geno. And you said no way.
Hold on, that's a different question.
Okay, but do you think he's having a better season?
Yeah.
Well,
after last night, when Geno has his worst game, and Purdy has his best game. Yeah, but
Geno still has 6 touchdowns, 6 picks. Brady's 9 and 4.
I understand.
Passer rating.
Prior to last night, Geno had 4 picks. So did Purdy. Purdy had 3 fewer touchdowns.
Purdy had one more.
Correct.
Purdy had one more touchdown than Geno and higher passer rating. He's been playing better.
20. Okay, I disagree with you. So I think these are 2 different things. Is Brock Purdy higher in the holistic quarterback rankings than Geno Smith? Probably yes. Was Geno Smith, in my opinion, having a better season prior to yesterday than Brock Purdy? Yes.
But he's not now.
No. Okay. One game is a huge percentage of the season when we're 5 weeks in. So
here's the last thing I'll say about Purdy, and we do have a graphic. Last night was his 8th game of his career, which we know has been short, of 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. Since he became a starter, no one's thrown 6 games like that. Jordan Love's got 6, Goff 5, Josh Allen 4. Purdy's got twice as many as Josh Allen, who's 3rd or 4th. So, like I said, he's a bad man.
He's good. I agree.
Not bad meaning bad, but bad meaning good.
Yeah. 49ers get to 500 and now have some extra rest before facing the Chiefs, who will be coming off a bye. Exactly. You get it, Trent.
He does get it.
Totally.
Also,
they do get it.
I would probably eye test and gut feeling feel a little bit better about Brock Purdy in the quarterback hierarchy if he would just take a few notes from Trent Williams' stylist.
He has no money.
Well, he's got these ads.
He can't afford all that.
He doesn't mean he has to dress like a science teacher. He could handle. There's a lot of people that make less than $900,000 a year that dress with some amount of swag after work. But go ahead.
You think the 49ers season is back on track now?
Well, if you ask the committee, and I am chairman emeritus, the season was never off track. It was like, listen, as long as they have that running game, which I think Christian McCaffrey is the best running back in football and a game changer.
Yep.
I also think that running game between the 20s clearly works with everyone. Like
They were down to fourth string last night.
Isaac Rendon just comes and ices the game.
2:30 last
I mean, that was the trademark of Kyle's dad. It's been the trademark of Kyle throughout. So that running game, those skill position guys, that head coach, I know we're killing the Niners defense. Fred Warner right now, in my opinion, him and Chris Jones, or him, Chris Jones, and Aiden Hutchinson, Pat Surtain are the leading candidates for Defensive Player of the Year. So the defense, when that guy's your middle linebacker, and you have legitimate talent in other spots, your defense is never going to be awful. Right. All of that, they're always going to be in it. And this is when Purdy doesn't turn the ball over, the team doesn't lose. And this year, when Purdy has 0 turnovers, they're 2-0. When he has just 1 turnover or 0, they're 3-1. Their only losses are his multi-turnover games. And so I think we're going to talk about it more later, but I think the NFC is wide open.
Right.
Going into the year, I thought it was so wide open a rookie could make the Super Bowl. 5 weeks in, I think other people think it's so wide open a different rookie could make the Super Bowl. So, I think they're fine. I think San Francisco's fine.
They're back on track in that they're leading the division now, technically, right? They're tied for first with Seattle, but they have the head-to-head. And as long as you control your own destiny, which is what they do now. I think they are the best team in their division. They have the most talent in that division. So if you control your own destiny and you're the most talented team or the best team, then you're back on track. Now, if they beat the Chiefs,
now we're talking.
That will really, I still have a little reservation about them. Are they as good as last season? I'm not ready to say that.
I don't think they are, but I don't think they have to be.
If they beat the Chiefs, it'll show, okay, they really are rolling now.
Ravens, 7-point favorites when they host the Commanders and their electric offense. It's a battle of 2 highest-scoring teams in the league. On the flip side, both defenses below average, and that's being kind. Ravens have won 3 in a row, Brew. Do they deserve to be 7-point favorites?
I got to be honest, I don't think so. I was surprised when I saw this line. I just think it's very high. I get it that, Washington, you can criticize the teams they beat, but they beat Cincinnati, Tampa Bay. A lot of this, I think, is looking at what happened to them against Tampa Bay.
That was week
and people
1.
really, I know. I'm shocked that this is this high.
You don't think it's about Baltimore?
In Baltimore.
That people think you're right about Baltimore and that they're a juggernaut?
No, I think Baltimore is going to win, but I just think the way Washington has played, to be 7-point dogs, I get it that it's in Baltimore. That surprised me. But, look, I think Jaden Daniels and the Commanders can score on that defense, but I think Baltimore is going to score on Washington's defense and outscore. I don't see a game like Cincinnati where basically nobody gets stopped. But I do think both teams will score. It'll be a fairly high-scoring game. And Baltimore, they may win by more than 7. I'm just surprised that line is that high.
Don't you think they're just going to run all over?
Yeah, they're gonna, and that controls Washington. Yeah, and that'll control the clock. Yeah, they'll control the clock. Lamar will make the play.
I don't think it's going to be as close as you think. I think they're just going to run the ball. I think it's going to feel more like the Cowboys game.
Can I say something real quick?
That would be impressive.
At some point, I think you're going to have to divorce yourself from what teams should do and what they do.
The Ravens, you mean?
Well, it's not just the Ravens. I think a lot of times, and this is not a criticism of you specifically, I think a lot of people do this, they look at it and they're like, well, this team stinks at stopping this. You're great at this, so let's just spam this thing. And then we watch football on Sunday, and teams are like, nope, this is the week we're running the bad plays. No, this is the week we're trying this, or we're working on this. I just feel like I've heard, and it's been logical before the fact, hey, this team is just going to run the ball and keep the ball and play keep away. And then sometimes teams are like, not what we're doing this week. And
they're always going to throw it, and they should with Lamar to some degree.
Sure.
But, yeah, I think they'll control time of possession.
So I understand the Ravens whooped Josh Allen. I don't think they can be touchdown favorites over any team with a good plus quarterback and legitimate weapons. So, they played the Chiefs. The Chiefs scored their season high against them. They played Joe Burrow. They scored their season high against them. Played Gardner Minshew, who's just throwing the ball to Devontae Adams, scored their season high against them. They played Dak Prescott. They scored their season offensive high against them. They actually scored more in Cleveland, but they had a punt return. So, you know what I mean? So, now they totally shut down Josh Allen and that Bills team. But everyone, we can show you the Ravens' defensive numbers. If you can pass the ball, you're going to get to the mid-20s at a minimum against this team. And so that's why I just don't think the Ravens are coming off an emotional overtime victory. So that already drains you a bit. Washington's coming off their easiest game of the year. You know what I mean? They were kind of in a strong position. You have those factors. You then also have the fact that I just think to cover 7, if the other team's getting to 27 minimum.
See, I don't think they can.
You don't think they can? I don't know if they.
I don't think the Commanders. I mean, they've got to just control the clock. I mean, it's basic football. That's the reason why the Ravens have been so dominant. If the Commanders cannot stop the run, and the Ravens are great at running, they should do that and control the clock.
It was the same thing with I hear you, but one of my reasons I think 7 is high is because how the Ravens have held leads. Like, if they had blasted Dallas all 4 quarters and it was a 28-10 win, then I would think, okay, they're probably going to go out there and crush the Commanders. But they're liable to let them right back in the game. But now, so that's why I'm a little questionable about it.
Cincinnati's defense is worse than the Commanders. They scored 38 points, and Baltimore said, fine, we'll just get in a shootout.
Yeah.
The Raiders' defense is not very good. Their offense isn't that good either. That's why 26 is their season high for them. You're right that the Ravens have looked their most dominant, and this does not mean taking a knock at Lamar. It's just how the season has gone when Lamar's thrown the least. And as far as dominant team victories, they've looked the most electric, you know what I mean, in that Cincinnati game. But then all of a sudden, this is the old thing Coach used to say about the Chiefs in 2018, which was, it's great to score that fast, one play, but then that terrible defense just right back on the field.
They're tired.
And so it's a weird spot because obviously if you're Baltimore, you're like, we just want to score every time we have the ball and score. It would make sense. Chunk plays quickly.
Henry breaks it.
Yeah.
That's 70.
But that's on the board. Commanders have allowed an NFL worst 24 carries and 10+ yards. That's from NFL.
Well, the thing is this too. We've seen it with the Ravens. If they get behind, which is possible, Jaden could throw a long pass for a touchdown or run for one or whatever. If they get behind, it seems like they tend to throw more when they're behind.
Of course.
So
but
if I'm the Commanders, that would be my thing. Let's get a lead and make them throw the ball instead of running.
But Brew's other point is correct, which is what is the minimum lead the Ravens need to have going into the fourth quarter where you would say, oh, they're covering that 7? Honestly.
Yeah, 14.
14's not enough. 14's not enough to cover the 7.
About win the game. You talking about cover for 7?
I think the answer is 21
I don't
points.
even want to say 20.
No,
they got to fix that. And it's been a problem under Harbaugh for years, but that's something they got to fix.
Honestly,
they can't let teams back in games.
If it's 34-20 going into the fourth quarter, Washington's not going to win, but they can definitely cover the 7 points.
Cover man.
I mean, Dallas was down 28 to 3.
Yeah.
But what do you mean? I mean,
I hope that was an aberration like you, but it hasn't been. That's
a random game.
That's
been
been
random
their custom.
onside kick.
I mean, I don't know. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.